I'm Ashton Addison from EventChain for InvestmentPitch Media and the Crypto Coin Show. And today on Blockchain Interviews, we have Alvin Lee, the CMO of DeGate. Alvin, welcome to the show, and thanks for being here.
Thanks very much for having me, Ashton. Appreciate it.
I'm really excited to dive into DeGate because I know you have some really interesting, innovative solutions that I think is the perfect time to bring these into the blockchain industry right now. And I would love for you to kick it off for the viewers with just a high-level overview and the focus of DeGate and some of those solutions you're looking to provide in the crypto space.
Great. So DeGate is a decentralized exchange trading protocol, or DEX protocol. And we are focusing on some of the gaps that we see in the market. We are trying to provide a particular niche or particular solutions that the market is not currently providing. As you know, decentralized trading is actually really expensive right now with high gas fees. So we're trying to provide a cheaper and faster as well as secure solution for the decentralized exchange trading space. And specifically, we're focusing on order book trading because we think that that is something that the market needs more of for the decentralized exchange trading space. So that is it. It's good to know that we are a decentralized autonomous organization, or DAO. So we're governed by DAO principles. And we aim to be the best decentralized exchange trading protocol with a full suite of functionalities, including order book trading, autonomous market making, or AMM, like that you see in the market right now, margin trading, and we are currently testing a layer 1 to layer 2 bridge between Ethereum layer 1 and layer 2. So we aim to have a full suite of functionalities.
That's great,
In a
Alvin. Thank you.
nutshell, that's it. Yep.
Yeah. That's a great intro, I think, for the viewers. And a lot of people are familiar with Uniswap and SushiSwap as the main sort of decentralized exchanges with the most volume, and it is quite the barrier to entry for people that are trading low amounts of volume because of the transaction fees on Ethereum right now. But I did recently speak with a couple other DEXs that are sort of working on layer 2 solutions. A lot of them seem to be based on Polygon for the most part, just ones that are based on Ethereum right now using their layer 2 solution. Can you talk about leveraging the layer 2, what makes DeGate specifically unique and different from something like a decentralized exchange that's utilizing layer 2 solutions on top of Ethereum?
Yeah, great question. So it's a very new field. The whole idea of layer 2 is very new. And we are focusing on what we believe to be the most promising technologies within layer 2, specifically roll-up technology. And essentially what layer 2 means is that we do maybe 99% of the computation or a large chunk of the computation and put a large chunk of the data on layer 2, of, in our case, Ethereum, and only record the state or a small chunk of that data and do a bit of the computation on layer 1. And now there are many ways to do this with many different trade-offs. And we've studied all the trade-offs, and we believe that roll-up technology is the one that will be the most sustainable in the long run. So we've studied all the layer 2 technologies, and that's why we're focusing on roll-up technologies. Specifically, we're starting with optimistic roll-ups, Arbitrum and Optimism, and we're also looking very closely at ZK roll-ups. So we have a strong technical team that's very focused on the fundamentals to ensure security in the long run. And so we think that that's one of the differentiating factors in terms of the strong tech. Secondly, I should note that we are focusing on our own innovative technologies on top of layer 2. We like to call it layer 3, which is essentially we call it a match node technology. And the whole point of this match node technology is to reduce the cost and the time for users of order book trading. For instance, if you do a match between a market maker and a market taker in the order book trading, only when there's a match do we record the trade on chain. So the match is done so-called on layer 3 or not even on the layer 2 chain. So this will even reduce the cost even further than existing layer 2 rollout technologies. So we see that as something that we are focusing on because we think that it's very important for the user experience. We want to make it as smooth for the user as possible of the order book trades. And this leads to several different better user experiences that we will focus on in the future.
Definitely, and that's really interesting that you have layer 3 there. And for most decentralized exchange users, there's a little bit of extra technical expertise as as opposed to trading on a centralized exchange. When you start incorporating layer 2, you mentioned user experience is super important, and a lot of people aren't really familiar, and hopefully don't need to be familiar with the intricacies of layer 2 and in the back end, how the transactions are batched, and essentially just trying to make it faster and cheaper for decentralized trading and peer-to-peer trading. And you talk about the specialized roll-up technologies. For somebody who has only ever used Uniswap once or twice, can you explain that a little bit more, and what does that mean to have the roll-up technologies, and why does it make DeGate better?
Sure, happy to. So there are two things here. One is the user experience, and one is the technology behind it. So just like when we use an app like Facebook, we don't look at all the technologies and all the servers that go behind it. Eventually, when we use decentralized trading on layer 2, in the future, we don't have to go through many of the steps that we go through now. We envision that the process will be a lot smoother as the technology matures. So in the ideal end state, we want to make the process as smooth as possible. Right now, for users of decentralized exchanges, it is a little bit more complex than using, say, a centralized exchange, and that is because the technology is so new. So for somebody like yourself who uses Uniswap, some of the additional steps might be you have to move your funds from layer 1 to layer 2, and also and sign that you can use the funds on layer 1 to layer 2. And beyond that, we're trying to make the process as smooth as possible beyond that. We do have a bridge that we are in testnet that we aim to make it cheap as well for people to move from layer 1 to layer 2 technology, layer 1 to layer 2 on Ethereum. Specifically for rollups, essentially rollups is the technology at the back that makes the layer 2 secure, because it transfers a portion of the state of the data to layer 1 for everyone to see. I'm simplifying things a bit, but what this means is that you don't have to worry about whether it's rollup technology or whether it's the other technology so much, because for the user itself, because he's focusing on the front end experience. We are focusing on rollup technology because we believe it's the most secure and viable technology in the long run.
Definitely. Thanks for that, Alvin. And you mentioned that the bridge testnet, you were working on that, and it looks like the bridge testnet is open right now. Can you talk about what that bridge means for the users? Can they go on there, and what are the steps that they need to take to start trading on DeGate?
Yep. So DeGate is not currently launched yet. The bridge testnet is launched, and we are working hard on the product for launch. So conceptually, I can only describe what the envisioned product is. Conceptually, a blockchain bridge is a way to transmit tokens or arbitrary data from one blockchain network to another. In this case, from Ethereum layer 1 to layer 2. And our goal in the bridge technology is to minimize the barriers of migrating Ethereum assets between the two layers. So the user can think of it this way: it is much faster and cheaper to transact on Ethereum layer 2 than layer 1. So as Ethereum layer 2 solutions get more and more popular, there's need to transfer assets, for example, ETH, from layer 1 to layer 2 and back again. So the goal of the DeGate Bridge is to provide an easy, fast, and cheap way to do this. You go in, you log on, and you click, you sign, and you transfer the funds. There's minimal gas consumption. Optimal user experience are the two things we're looking out for. We take a small fee for the transaction, and we make it faster than some of the other bridges. We've done a comparison of the many different bridges, and we aim to be the best combination of fast and cheap. I should add that currently the bridge is a bit more centralized because the technology for rollups is not super mature at the moment. But in the future, we will aim to decentralize the bridge itself. What this means that for about 5 minutes or so, like a short period of time, during the bridge, there is some centralization elements, but this means that it's a much lower cost and a much faster time for the bridge transfer. And we think that having a bridge is very important for using layer 2 technologies. That's why we're focusing on it.
Definitely. And I'm curious, Alvin, with this bridge to layer 2, is the layer 2 solution for DeGate something that is actually comparable or in competition with a layer 2 solution like Polygon that's being used on other decentralized exchanges? Is it something that is built in-house, and can that be used as well for other exchanges, or is this going to be exclusive to DeGate?
Yeah, so the layer 2 technology is not exclusive to DeGate. We're working with Arbitrum and Optimism and some of the other technologies. And we're looking at all the technologies, actually, for the rollup technology. Now, Polygon is the topic of the moment right now. And and they're focusing more on two different technologies, side chains as well as plasma. So these are the two different technologies that they're focusing on. Every single layer two technology has its pros and cons, and so I don't think that I should. What I would say is that we are focusing on the technology that we believe is the most viable in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
So and this could potentially change in time, but right now we're very focused on roll-up technologies. And this is the technology that Vitalik is most optimistic on, actually, in a recent interview with Lex Friedman. So to answer your first question, we are focusing on roll-ups and not the plasma technology that Matic is focused on, even though we study all layer two technologies very closely. For the proprietary, it's not proprietary. The layer two technology is not proprietary to us, but our so-called layer three match node technology is proprietary to us, which we are doing R&D on, and we hope to release it soon when the product launches.
That's great to know. It's great that your team has a longer-term vision, which I think is necessary for success in the long run. And I did see that interview with Vitalik talking about those technologies. And I think it's great that your team is looking at all of the technologies, and that's the way that it should be to ensure that you have the best solution. And now, talking about the long term, you're so early; it hasn't even launched yet. When it does start to launch, I'm curious. One of the reasons that everyone is trading on Uniswap, and it is the number one exchange, is because it has the most volume and it has the most liquidity. How is your team planning on building liquidity in the exchange early on in the launch?
Yeah, so like any other economic system, is based on incentives. So we definitely have incentives for liquidity mining for both the order book trading and the AMM if when it launches the AMM modules. So we are looking towards incentives for liquidity mining as a part of our strategy for extracting liquidity. In addition, I should add that there's a protocol, but there's also in our vision we will let third-party providers provide the UI for the front end for this protocol, and we also provide trading fee rebates for those that are doing the third-party front end UI and using a protocol for their own exchanges. So definitely it's all about incentives, and we'll design the incentives accordingly. And this might change slightly in the future, but definitely the base principle is about incentives, and we will have to make sure that all the incentives are aligned.
Definitely. Thanks, Alvin. And now the bridge testnet is open. That's the latest milestone. Can you give a glimpse into the rest of 2021 and into the roadmap for what are the next major milestones on the way to the launch?
Yeah, so the bridge testnet is open. We're working hard on the launching the bridge, and most of our efforts are focused on. What I can share is that most of our efforts are focused on the technical aspects on the product. So making sure that the product is secure and has a good user experience are very important. Two of the key factors behind two of the key things that we're working on are principles are trustless and permissionless. So we're trying to make the protocol as trustless and permissionless, as secure, and yet easy to use for the user. So it's not a small feat, and most of our efforts, most of our attention is focused on this. Like any other endeavor, we want to make something that people want, but not at the expense of the security of the funds. In the long run, we are focused on the ethos of the Ethereum community. We're governing based on set parameters which are transparent, and we want to focus on building a long-term rule-based organization in the DAO. It's easy to make it. It's better to make it longer lasting and more vibrant through inclusiveness.
Definitely, I think those are great principles. And I wanted to ask one more question surrounding the DAO. Do you see a lot of advantages in being a DEX that has a DAO, and potentially disadvantages as well in the earlier stages?
Yeah, so like many other DAOs, we are still there's a very strong reason to have a DAO for decentralized exchanges. It's part of the whole ideas of that. We want our organization should be should be very closely resembling the ideals of decentralized exchanges in general. So I see mostly advantages in it. We have the way we mitigate the disadvantages is that we have a home DAO and a council DAO. So the home DAO is the ultimate where the ultimate legitimacy of the project lies, and it lies with the community. But the council DAO is delegated with the day-to-day execution and the decision making, which means that it's much faster to make decisions. So in this way, we envision that this is how we view the trade-off, and that the council DAO will help to make decisions faster. But ultimately, the legitimacy and authority is vested in the home DAO. So this is our view of DAOs, and it's constantly evolving. The whole DAO space is something that I'm very closely following, and we like to think that we're pioneers in the creation of DAOs that will help to govern decentralized exchange. Our motto is make decentralized exchange mainstream, and part of that is helping to make the idea of DAOs mainstream as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's so much potential in DAOs that isn't fully utilized right now, and I'm excited to see that flourish and grow out to fruition. So I will be watching DeGate on that front as well. Now, we're running short on time, Alvin, but on the way to the launch, your team's working hard, I know. Is your team looking for anything specifically on the way to launch, like strategic partners, investors, or just future customers to follow along as the launch is coming up?
Yeah, so for us, we're always on the lookout for talent. So if you're a crypto native, especially if you have expertise in roll-ups, please do reach out. We're always looking for marketing talent and talent in general. So that's one thing. That's what it's a very new space, and we are at the cutting edge of the technology. So please do reach out if you have a specialty and a skill that you think might be a fit. Strategic partnerships, we're always open. And for investors, what we can do is we want to provide the best knowledge for them to make their own decisions. So this is, and we want to be very focused on the technology and the product, and let investors slowly come to understand this. So if I may, I'd like to share a couple more points very quickly.
Definitely.
The first is that we're a very serious team. We're building for the future. So a bit of backstory about the team. So the founding team is actually, one of the founders is Big Gulu. He was the original translator of the Ethereum white paper from English to Mandarin. And he was one of the early pioneers of the Ethereum community. When Vitalik was in China, he organized several roadshows and formed a close relationship with Vitalik. So we are definitely very focused on the Ethereum community and giving back to the Ethereum community. The founding team is also behind Bihu.com, which is a 1 million strong crypto community globally, as well as MyKey, a secure wallet. So essentially, this is a very serious team building for the long term, and very focused on the product. The second point is that we are very focused on giving back to the community as well, and we would love to get involved in Ethereum community and the crypto community at large in whatever manner, whether it's speaking, engaging in conferences, speaking to people, and we're also looking to have our own YouTube channel, which is launching soon with our own content, focusing on layer 2 technologies, focusing on our philosophical views behind DAOs and behind the whole ecosystem. And this is constantly evolving. It's a super exciting space, and we're looking forward to be good members of the community, as well as one of the best decentralized exchange trading protocols.
Very cool, Alvin. You've gained a new subscriber on the YouTube channel
Thank
as
you.
well.
Thank you, Ashton.
It's great to have those philosophical discussions there. It actually generates quite a bit of attention. For the community that's looking to learn more about that and just follow along for the launch and all of the other updates for DeGate, what's the best way for them to get involved in the community? Yeah,
so I think one of the best ways is to join our Twitter, follow our Twitter at DeGate Dex, DEGATE, Dex, DEX. We have a Discord channel, which is getting more and more active. Our website is where you find the white paper, www.degate.com. And also we have a Medium where we post very regular and quite technical updates on what we're up to. So that's also available on our Medium page. And of course, we're launching our YouTube channel soon. So please do stay in touch with us, and we'll keep you posted on new developments.
Sounds great, Alvin. I will leave all of those links in the description box below as well for the viewers. all the best with DeGate overall and the DAO and the upcoming launches. I will be following along, and let's follow up in the near future.
Thank you, Ashton. Appreciate it.